Iconic Talk. This is your community's podcast with conversations about real estate, local happenings, and all things Winchester, Virginia. I'm Mark Francis, a local realtor, broker, and owner at Icon Real Estate.
And I'm Madison Kilmer, a local realtor and part of the Icon Real Estate team. Mark and I are so excited to share everything that we love about Winchester, Virginia with you, and we want you to be informed, savvy real estate consumers in today's ever-changing market.
Yep, if you want local knowledge, you have come to the right place. And it is full swing summer,
Yes.
right? I mean, the heat is here, the thunderstorms, the humidity, all of the above. I feel like I've attempted to make a few different plans to just go to a swimming pool every now and then they just instantly get canceled.
Yeah.
Because the storms hit and you're like, oh, okay, guess I'm not doing that outside activity today.
Yeah, I went to the Royals game that we talked about last week, and that got postponed for an hour.
Yeah.
It was insane lightning.
Lightning was big time. I saw the lights on at the stadium.
They had it.
Did a drive-by.
They did they did a couple breaks. I mean, but literally the whole time in the background, you could see just huge bolts of lightning. It was crazy.
Yep. You know, I talked to one of our listeners. His name is Roger, and he said, I love these things, and I'm going to that baseball game because you told me about it. I'm like, perfect.
Well, I was there. I should have said hi.
Yeah, you should have. I don't know, but like it's the local activities and events and all the happenings around here are definitely a key feature of what we do and talk about.
Yeah.
Another key feature of what we talk about is real estate, right?
Yeah.
And we're in the throes of summer. It's been several weeks since we have done an episode that focuses on the state of the union of the market back in the spring. So in light of the new season, in light of summer, what is the state of the union of the real estate world here in the summertime?
Yeah.
I think it's apropos. We get a chance to talk in seasons. So I've got some stats. Do you like numbers?
Are they good numbers?
I guess so. I mean,
I like good numbers.
You like good numbers?
Yeah.
Well, they're interesting numbers. So visualize this. I'm going to paint this picture here. So at this time last year, the average list price in this area, Frederick County and Winchester, was $489.
Oh.
What do you think the average list price today is for this current year from January to June? What do you think?
$340?
No, you are off. It is the exact same number. Can you believe it? It's the exact same number, $489.
Okay.
Only off by almost $100. So it was $489,600 last year, and it's $489,500 this year. Can you believe it? So prices have not dropped.
Good.
So you want good numbers. That's a good number.
I was ready to be blown away by some negativity.
No, there's no negativity here. You said you want positivity. We're here to bring the positives. Not all is positive though. So the interesting fact as well is that the number of days on market that houses are sitting around has dropped as well. So the average days on market for this year, from January to June, is 36. Okay. Where back in January this year, it was sitting at 34. Right now in June, for the month of June, it's only 25. So for this current year, things have gotten a little bit better. But the trend of things selling in the average days on market last year is like 10.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Yeah.
So to me, that just shares a little bit of more the stability of the market. Last spring, we talked about how insane it was where things were flying off the shelves. We haven't seen that this year, and that's okay. That's okay. So you can hold fast to the fact that things are not dropping. But here's another interesting stat. So the total inventory of houses on the market last year, 441 residential houses on the market in this area. Have they gone up or down this current year? Do you think that you're correct with that?
Okay.
This is a pop quiz for Madison Kilmer here. I love it.
Right?
Yes. So
inventory is definitely
inventory
lacking.
is down. And you know what? It's funny because last year we thought inventory was low.
Yeah.
And buyers were coming out and things were flying off the shelves. So inventory is down now to 345. So it is almost 100 houses less now than it was last year. So what does that mean for the market? How do we summarize and synthesize these stats? I'm here to tell you that this is not all bad news. It's just simply a numbers game. Buyers are still out there. We do know that the interest rates have gone up from last year to this year as well now.
Yeah.
But to know that prices have not dropped and to know that inventory is low tells me if you are a seller, now is the time to list.
Yes.
Because prices are still steady and there's not much competition out there.
Yeah.
And yes, the days on market have risen because last year at this time was a craze. So expect your house to take a good few weeks to sell if you attempt to list it. But that's not all bad.
I mean, the stat you said 30, 34, 40 range.
36 for the year is the average.
That's not bad.
This current past month of June was just 25 days on market.
So, I mean, we're not looking at something I don't think that's concerning.
No. So when I look at these numbers, I'm like, this is actually pretty normal.
Yeah.
We're in what I would consider to be a normal market. And that's what I've been telling everybody. My gut has always, it's kind of felt that way. But then when you look at the numbers and crunch them and analyze them, it validates kind of the gut feel that I think all of us agents have, that this is fine.
Yeah.
This is normal. The world's not blowing up for a seller, like the prices aren't falling. For a buyer, you're not stressed out because last year we had plenty of buyers who were stressed because they would consistently make offers, and not get the house because they're up against people who are bidding $10, $15, $20, $40,000 over price. And so it's not stressful for sellers because you're going to be able to sell your house.
Yeah.
Not super stressful for buyers. To me, that sits pretty well.
Yeah, and going back to feeling like things are starting to be normal again, I think that's just everything aspects. Not going into the whole COVID
life.
But I mean, everything I feel like is just normalizing and coming back to what we call normal with events and Winchester and the community.
Mm-hmm.
I think everything is just hitting that homeostasis back to normal.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think there's also just so much misinformation out there about what the market is doing. And it's nice to hear someone say, hey, it's okay. The numbers speak for themselves. You don't have to listen to anyone's opinions. These are facts.
Yes. And we're talking just Winchester and Frederick County.
Yes.
So for all of you listeners, if you live in Clark County or Strasburg and Shenandoah County or Warren County or in West Virginia, Hampshire, Morgan, Berkeley, Jefferson, you name it, all the different counties around us. Yeah. I'm only crunching numbers for this specific area, but you know what? All of our surrounding areas are all very similar. Yeah. So Winchester and Frederick County is just a microcosm of our greater region. Yeah. It's not taking into effect Northern Virginia.
Yeah, that's
going
a whole
across the mountain to Loudoun County, Fairfax County, DC area, that kind of stuff. They're going to definitely have their own market.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate and I like because I really have always shared this with people that Winchester is in a little bit of a isolated bubble. A little cocoon, if you want to call it that, because we have great industries around us. We have a great community that we live in. And there are still plenty of people who are looking to move into the area. Mm-hmm. And not many people are looking to move out of the area. So to me, that says that we are sitting in a good spot from a real estate market to know that if you own your house and you're going to plan on being there for a while, it's a good investment.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people also want to hold on and rent right now, even if they don't necessarily or can't be here, no matter the circumstances. That's another thing I think is why the inventory has gone down, is because they see how great the market is right now and they want to hold on.
Absolutely. That, and I had lunch with a client today.
Yeah.
We had this exact same conversation. He was picking my brain about this because he is getting near the retirement age and was contemplating downsizing his house. And he and his wife have agreed that they're not going to move out of town.
Yeah.
They could, if they wanted to go be near some other family, but they have family here. So they're deciding they want to stay in Winchester. They've seen all the stats that Winchester is a great retirement community.
It is.
One of the top 10 communities in the entire country. Consistently, those stats in magazines and articles and blogs talk about that. So he was asking me, he's like, what are your thoughts on the market, and what can I get if I'm trying to downsize? So we talked about all that, but the bottom line that we ended up realizing was how people are not listing their houses right now because they can't really find the right thing that they want. Yeah. That's the boat that he's in. He's like, I would want to downsize, but I've got a pretty picky, taste of what I'm looking for with a specific budget range, and I care. He's like, I've done plenty of improvements to my own house over the many years I've lived here, and I can continue to do a few more improvements to make it work for me. So do I have to list my house? And I'm like, you're right, but I'm trying to convince him, list your house. It's going to help the market. If you list your house, then you go buy something else. And then he's telling me a story of one of his neighbors is doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
They ended up finishing their basement, and they were looking to maybe downsize, and they're getting retirement age, and they're like, well, we can eventually still keep walking up and down stairs. They're not that old yet. And so they're saying to themselves, we're just going to keep improving our house. A story after story after story that's happening, which is exactly speaking to the stats that we just saw, that the inventory is down.
Yeah.
And so that slows down the whole market here for Winchester. It just the prices aren't going down. It's just slowing down the circle of life, if you call it that, of the buyers and sellers, because it's a domino effect. Yeah. If my friend who I had lunch with today listed his house tomorrow, it would sell within a week or two. We know that. Then he's going to go buy a house. And that house, that person, who knows where they might be moving. But we know as realtors, we see these clients. Mostly, a lot of them are coming from out of the area. And our clients who I'm helping list houses with, they're looking to stay in town.
Yeah.
So it's a whole just interesting.
It's just a popular place to be.
Yeah, and it's good.
People want to be here.
We love it. We want you to stay. We want more people to come and just like we've had episodes. Many episodes ago, this slow growth mentality that Frederick County has told us about in the planning and zoning people. It's true. There's this kind of slow, continual growth. Builders are still building houses. Those are going up. The town is just slowly evolving in a good way. Yeah. You might argue with me about that.
No,
some people
even the outskirts. I think that they're starting. I've been spending a lot of time in Snowden, going out there a lot, and you just see it's every week. You just see new construction. They're starting to spread out.
Snowden
farms.
Bridge, which is like north side of town, off Route 11, Stevenson area.
Yeah.
Yep.
I consider that the Winchester. I guess it's right on the outskirts.
Sure. Steven City, you go the opposite direction. Yeah. There's plenty of new construction houses down there as well. So growth is happening.
Yes.
Significant.
Businesses are Duck Donuts.
Duck Donuts.
We can't forget about Duck Donuts.
Oh, we got to talk about them.
I know. How did we forget about Duck Donuts? That just popped in my mind, and I had to say something.
There you go.
That
Squirrel.
was my ADHD. Yes. That full effect right there.
Yep.
But but that's just so crazy to me to think about. A couple years ago, we're getting crumble cookies. We have Duck Donuts.
Yeah.
That is Winchester now, and it is so exciting to me.
It's cool.
I get so excited.
I like that too. Now, there are some traditionalists out there who want it to stay a small town and don't want to see the growth. But
we also have so many amazing local businesses, Sclafani's, downtown, that will never go out.
Yep.
But I think it's so great to have the option and the diversity.
Yep.
To have all these new businesses with the local businesses.
Yep. You think about people who we've had on before: Scarpa Alta, Runner's Retreat. Bell's, just the shoe stores in town, just all the local people, and they're surviving. They survived COVID, and this slow, continual growth is just going to only benefit everyone around us. It makes me also think about like some of the cool new condos that Icon has listed with our buddy Jason Akins.
Yeah.
And that area right there on Piccadilly Square, across the street from the police station, that's just going to be continual growth of town, of just improving the area. Yeah. Those, by the way, are still for sale. So some of them are under contract and some of them are for sale still. So go check those out. Call us if you need that. Little plug there. You're welcome, Jason. But so I love it. So the State of the Union in the summer is, I can't say it's strong. I can say it's steady, and I can say it's normal.
I think it's promising too.
Yeah, and promising. Yeah. I like that word.
Yeah,
steady.
Very positive. I think that it's definitely positive. You hear so much negativity about all these numbers in the market. That's why I got so scared when you said you were bringing up numbers. I hear it, and I think it's promising.
Sure.
And, it shows just how amazing Winchester is. Like you said, people are coming out, and people don't want to leave. It's going to balance itself out. Mm-hmm. But the attraction to want to be here is not going anywhere, in my
No,
opinion.
I fully agree with that.
Yeah.
And I'll admit I was a little bit off when we had this conversation in the spring. I was predicting that the summer was going to become the new spring market.
Yeah.
It hasn't exploded in that way, but steady is the key word.
Yeah.
Steady and promising and hopeful, because I really see positivity for both a seller and a buyer from these stats.
Yeah.
So if you are a buyer and you are now resigning yourself to the fact that the interest rates are what they are, if you've been waiting and saying, oh, I'm going to wait for them to come down, think again. You can go ahead and do the best you can within your budget, within the constrictions of the interest rates, within the constrictions of your budget, go buy. If you are a seller, you've just heard the stats. So there's not many things for sale, not a lot of competition out there. It's not many days on the market. You should be able to get the price that you're looking for if you list it appropriately. It's all positive things,
Yeah.
which I love.
Yeah. And I think, well, leading into the next, so I have had a lot of questions lately about with it being a seller's market.
Oh.
And I think everybody probably has a different opinion on this. We spoke a little bit, but I mean, I think maybe a fresh coat of paint in some circumstances, a nice deep clean if you have carpet. I think landscaping, if you're willing and able to do a little bit of landscape work, which is very cost effective.
Yep.
But people want to put, I have to rip up my flooring and I have to put new LVP down and I have to do,
Yeah.
and I just really can't see the amount of money that you would put into a home actually get a and maybe with the seller's market, but you also don't need to put in
You
that
don't need
effort.
to. No, I consistently, it doesn't matter. In my 20 plus years of doing this, I have always held firm to this concept. Price it the way that the house is in its current condition, because you never know what a buyer is going to want or see that they like or don't like of the improvements that you would have made. If you're not a professional flipper and you don't have a specific template of what's going to work, don't try it, because you're better off to just do the bare bone essentials of decluttering, cleaning, do the front curb appeal. I agree with you with landscaping. There might be a fresh coat of paint. If you do a fresh coat of paint right now, white is in. There's no reason to do color. The beiges, the tans, even the grays. The grays are 10 years old. Just go white on white. Go as neutral and as light as possible. And then if you make a presentation where it's clean and it shows off the house well, you're limiting your expenses.
Yeah.
You are allowing it to
time.
look good.
Yeah.
You're not wasting your time, and you're leaving it to the buyer to figure out what they want. And you price it right. You're going to give the buyer the perspective that they're getting a deal,
Yeah.
and that they can do something to make it their own.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it from that perspective, but listing it at a higher price and the buyer comes in and they say, hey, well, I'm just going to go in here and
Yeah.
they'd much rather.
If you're thinking to yourself, I'm going to put in a granite countertop, well, what color are you putting and what are you deciding?
Yeah.
If you're going to think, I'm going to do a backsplash, or I'm going to change this flooring to laminate, or I'm going to paint the walls this gray and this white trim. I mean, you can try. Then you're starting to get risky.
Yeah.
You're spending money that you might not get back in order to make yourself feel better that you sold your house for a higher price. Maybe not.
But after spending a lot more money than you would have previously.
Right. My rule of thumb with that, and I've probably said this a few times on episodes in the past, save your money as a seller, get your house under contract, allow the buyer to have a home inspection, which they're typically going to ask for. When they do their home inspection, typically they're going to come to you with a list. And when that list comes, it makes sense to spend a little bit of money to do the things that they want, because they are the actual buyer of your house.
Yeah.
They have a contract. You are going to do things to retain that contract. That is where your money should be spent, not before you get a contract, before you list it, because you're going to guess what you think you need to do.
And you're not going to hit everything on that list, and then you're going to have to spend more money, and then it's going to be a hard pill to swallow.
Exactly. Then you're going to feel like you're doubling your expenses when you might not have had to do that. I actually did a quick video of broker tips on our Icon social media pages this past week, just saying there's no reason to do that stuff. There's no reason to spend money on your own home inspection before you list it. There's no reason to spend money on hiring an appraiser to appraise the house before you list it. I've had people ask for those things, and I'm like, that doesn't make sense. That's just more money to spend in order to where you think you might be able to get a higher price point. Higher price point does not always equal higher proceeds.
Yes.
I'll say it again. Higher price point does not always equal higher proceeds or profits. So what's your net end result money that you're taking away from the closing table going to be? Our job as agents are going to coach you on how to do that.
Yes.
So just because you're going to sell it for a higher price makes you feel good about yourself, look at what expenses it took you to get there.
Because you're going to have to buy or rent. You're going to have to go somewhere.
You're going to have to go somewhere.
And you want to know exactly what you're going to have in that bank account when you get out.
Right.
And I think that's great. Yeah. Crunching the numbers and having someone from an outside perspective that's emotionally not as involved, and just has an unbiased opinion on what you need to do. Because at the end of the day, our goal is the same as your goal. We want to make you the most amount of money as fast as possible and make it as least stressful as possible. Because if you're stressed out, we're stressed out.
Absolutely.
So our goals are aligned.
As a seller, that is our goal. As a buyer, we're here to get you the best deal and still make the transition as in the purchase process as smooth as possible, and we'll connect you with all the right people. So there's your answer right there.
I am interested that you said you've always said that. So even if it was a buyer's market, you would still think it's the same.
Yeah, for a seller, it's all about pricing.
Okay.
The strategies of you can watch HGTV shows, you can watch all these other things about what big market things it takes of doing fancy open houses and doing different stagings and having all the things done to the house to flip it to make it look presentable. Those are all risks.
Yeah.
and in any market where you think you need to stand out, whether it be DC, New York City, LA, where you're in these multi-million-dollar price points and you want to stand out, that's still a risk. Yeah. And it's all about price. And so therefore, if you can just price your house appropriately, limit your expenses, even in a down market, even in a market where there's a recession and buyers are just really being very picky and there's way more houses to sell than there are buyers. That's the reverse of where we are right now. It's just all about price.
Yeah.
And so it's even more risky in a market like that to attempt to spend money to make your house stand out when you definitely might not get that return.
Yeah.
So, and what's it worth your time? It's worth your money up front and your time to go through all that headache of managing a project to fix your house and make it all, bells and whistles and shiny lights and fancy things. That's a lot of effort. So what is your time worth? Yeah. And if maybe you have to drop the price of your house by $5,000, $10,000, and mentally you're thinking to yourself, oh, I could have done some of that work myself and maybe made that money. Yeah. Oh, don't go down that path. You're chasing your tail.
Yeah, that's a rabbit hole that you don't want to go down.
Yeah. So, I've always said that. And not every realtor says this. Trust me.
No, I know.
There's debates on either side.
Yeah, I definitely wanted yours. I fully agree with right now with it being a seller's market. There's just absolutely no reason.
Yeah.
Because, that's so much time. That's so much effort, and that's just so much stress.
Well, some agents pride themselves in feeling like that they're also interior designers, and they can show their portfolio of before and after houses that they've had listed and that they've suggested their clients do and proven the dollars that they sold their house for X percentage higher. Well, but what are the expenses? And what is the effort of doing that? And as a realtor, I don't want a realtor who's an interior designer. Yeah. I want a realtor who's going to sell my house and get me the most money. So yes, trust me, I have a good interior design eye because I like to flip houses and stuff like that. So
don't be mistaken. He is good at it.
I can do it.
It's just not his job title.
I don't want to do it. I can do it, and we can help go down that process, and I've got plenty of people who can help make it happen. But, it's just too risky.
It is, and I feel like we see it time and time again, and there's always going to be stubborn people that just don't want to listen, and that's fine. At the end of the day, it's totally up to you, and we'll be here to support you.
Yeah.
But it is nice to have an unbiased opinion of someone that's seen this happen so many times and has the same goal as you, which is to net as much as possible.
As much as possible.
And get you exactly what you need.
Yep. I love it. So there's your summer right there in a nutshell. That's a good chat.
And that was pretty positive.
See,
I was a little nervous.
It's Positivity Thursday for all of you out there. Absolutely.
Yes.
So, yes, we're keep you upbeat, Madison, keep you excited, keep the positivity going. What's going on in town this coming weekend that people should be aware of?
Yeah, we've got some fun stuff coming up, and then right after that, we've got the fairs. So we've got a
Cool.
nice little lineup.
Cool.
We've got on July 21st, starting at 6 p.m., is the guided history walking tour of the Old Town Winchester. You can experience 275 years
Yeah.
of history on this guided walking tour. Learn about the citizens that lived here and the pivotal events that made Winchester a place it is today. These tours are given by experienced and knowledgeable guides and enjoy sharing their love of local history.
Cool. Love it.
So that's exciting. I've actually never done anything like that.
Yeah. There's also ghost tours that have happened too.
I have wanted to do that.
Yeah.
I've seen them pass a couple times. They usually do the nighttime walking mall.
Mm-hmm.
That looks fun. And then we've got the Theater for Kids is showcasing their production of the beloved Disney movie Moana Jr. This event has already started and it will continue throughout July 22nd.
Huh.
So
Cool.
only a couple more days to get that.
Yep.
And then finally on Saturday, July 22nd, the Kernstown Battlefield Association will be hosting a walk and driving tour of the Second Battle of Kernstown.
Huh.
The tour will include a strategic overview followed by a battlefield walking and driving tour. The battlefield tour will start and finish on the Kernstown battlefield and will also include a visit to the newly acquired Sandy Ridge property along with a stop at the vicinity of the Confederate flanking attack to the southeast of the main Kernstown battlefield property.
Wow. And I like the idea that they're allowing driving as well. There's some
Yes.
hills. I don't know if you've
Yes,
seen
and
that.
they really
Yep.
wanted to make sure that they could have it inclusive to everybody. I
Yep.
know that they had a little note at the bottom that also said if any accommodations needed to be made, they were more than happy, especially for veterans and elderly guests to be able to still enjoy it. So really for the whole family.
Yeah, so much history around here.
Yeah.
You get those tours of downtown, tours of battlefields.
I forget how much
You know,
history there is here.
Plenty of history.
I feel like I'm so ignorant because I've lived here my whole life that sometimes I pass the George Washington office every
Yeah.
day and I'm like, that's really cool.
Well, again, the building we're sitting in, 1757.
I know.
mean, not how many other towns can tout a building, at least in the United States, building
Yeah.
that old. I mean,
That
people in-
looks like this. That is still functioning. We have everyone compliments the building, not
Yeah.
to toot our own horns, but
Yes.
it's a pretty awesome building.
Pretty awesome building. We love it here. Well, thanks for joining us in this episode of Iconic Talk. We hope you learned something from today's episode and look forward to sharing more with you next week. Remember, when you look for a real estate professional, make sure they're experienced, innovative, personal, dedicated, and available.
Yes, we appreciate you spending some of your valuable time with us, and we would love it if you would take a moment to subscribe and share this podcast with your friends. You can tell them that we can be found on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Yep. Thanks to our editor extraordinaire, Simi Battaglia, and to our social media queen, Liv Gordon. Until next time, think iconic.